Welcome back to a best of 3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Terran, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on a light shade. And as of me making this video, these two players are the highest ranked Terran players from Europe, and if I were to make a guess, they have been for quite some time. I mean, if you've been watching my videos, you've probably noticed that both of these have been winning a lot of stuff. So spawning in the bottom right hand corner of light shade and playing with the red Terran SCVs from Germany, we have HeroMarine. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran pieces. Oh, the little polar bear is gone. Oh, maybe it'll appear on his natural expansion. Well, I say that. I don't know if he's planning on making a natural expansion, because it looks like, okay, there's a proxy barracks going up. From France, we have none other than Team Liquid's Clem, who of course is apparently in Clem Mlem. Liquid Clem, Clem Mlem, Liquid Clem, Clem Mlem, Liquid Clem. There you go. Alright, just a little bit of a tongue twister, you know. I gotta warm up my voice before I start doing these casts. You can do all kinds of different vocal exercises, but Team Clem, Liquid Clem, you know, that's definitely one of them. Either way, let us see exactly what ends up going down, because look at this. Apparently Clem decides to go for the proxy barracks, but he's also adding on 2 gases right now at home, which indicates to me that he is not just gonna end up with a barracks over here. I'm pretty sure he wants to continue proxying for a little while longer. I mean, 1 barracks really doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. He's gonna go up to a pretty reasonable amount of gas already. Luckily for HeroMarine, he is scouting with an SCV. So every once in a while, we just see the Reaper scout, which can become a bit of a problem. But he's going to find out that there's something lacking right here on top of the ramp. Alright, it's just going to be a second depot. And indeed, the factory now also will be proxied. This is nice, though. This gives HeroMarine the heads up to, yeah, make a bunker right over here. That's very helpful. The bunker in this location, I love it. The little jump-up pad right here for a Reaper is right over here. I mean, maybe a little bit further back wouldn't be bad, but... I mean, I'm sure HeroMarine knows better what to do than I do. But there's no denying that it's covering both the ramp as well as the little jump-up pad right over here. I guess you can roam your own Reapers right here on the high ground, and then you can pop them into the bunker. Yeah, should be okay. All right, so he doesn't know, by the way, what's going on. He decides to now actually rally the Reaper towards the other side of the map, and the same can be said for Clem, probably anticipating this very move. It's a little bit strange. They're both just barely out of vision of each other. Okay, there we go. At the very least, this will indicate... assuming HeroMarine saw that, right? Like, that was a split second. Are they gonna fight to the death? They will. Alright. Well, this is a good trade right now for Clem, all things considered. Anyways, like, he should figure out here that... Assuming he saw the little jump up there, that this is going to be some sort of proxy shenanigans. Now, what exactly will it be? Okay, we have the mag field accelerator upgrade right now coming up for the Cyclones. And, of course, the Cyclone right now is being produced as well inside of the factory. It's got to enable the little red headlights. The thing is, right, this is not going to be an expo here from HeroMarine super quickly. I mean, he already has the command center going up right now. But this is a save opener because of that SCV scout that we saw earlier. I do like this, though, from Clem. Follows it up with his own command center as well. But he certainly needs to get something done. Although, maybe just containing your opponent is enough. Yeah, he's scouting right now that there's no natural here at all for the red Terran player. He goes for a siege tank here after just 1 Cyclone. I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so, okay. I think what he's going for right now is he's trying to maybe, like, contain his opponent on 1 base while expanding behind it himself, right? So, yeah, the barracks right now floats forward as well. He's going to be able to get a scout right here on the high ground. He knows that it's not a quick expo from his opponent. Other than that, he doesn't know too much. But he knows that they're... you know, are going to be units on the low ground here as soon as possible. So if he can prevent that from his opponent for a little while, I guess making a siege tank or 2 is pretty clever, right? You just siege it up somewhere, try and prevent your opponent from going across the map. You just need to be very careful right now if you're Clem, exactly for this kind of stuff. When there's a medevac coming up and you load it up with units, sure, you can sit here with a siege tank on the low ground, and that's nice and all. But what exactly is the follow-up from there, right? If you have to deal with Marines at home. Anyhow. Starport coming up. 3rd command center coming up already for Clem. Alright. I like it. Clem was actually streaming on Twitch a couple of days ago. I mean, Gabe streams all the time. But, like HeroMarine, that is. He streams pretty much every single day. Super highly ranked player. If you watch their streams, you really know how good these guys are. So, Clem actually, like, he is insanely fast. Like, I think in APM, you don't really notice it just yet. But especially, I watched this little highlight clip of him going up against Lambo. And the guy is casually macroing while controlling 3 armies at the same time. So 2 drops and then also defending against Lingbane at home while macroing and never going above 200 minerals. It's actually kind of crazy, the skill level required to pull this kind of thing off. Anyways, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is really nice. When all your production is on the other side of the map, these little moves hurt quite a lot. Lovely little decision making right here from HeroMarine. It's now going to trigger a lot of those units to apparently roll back home. Barracks is going to be a nuisance for a while longer, but I think that HeroMarine is going to be able to get this this command center landed here on the low ground eventually. I feel like we see this in so many games of Terran versus Terran now. Ooh, well, the lock-on ability is done. Yep. Or, well, not the lock-on ability, but the lock-on upgrade. So that means that the Cyclone right there shoots that medevac out of the sky very easily. I feel like we see that kind of medevac fly by so often whenever, like, a cheese isn't fully committed to. I don't know. It feels like it's such an obvious move anyway. I guess it's fine, though. 8 SCVs right here at the end. The exchange of a medevac with 7 Marines in it. I mean, if the medevac got out, this would have been a massive advantage right now for HeroMarine. In this case, I mean, it's still okay, but obviously we saw the 3rd command center. Right, there's the little polar bear, by the way. Yeah! Anyways, we now know at the very least that he's going to be able to replenish those workers relatively easily as well. Okay, Cyclones over here. This is very dangerous. He knows that there's Cyclones out, obviously, for his opponent as well. Luckily here for HeroMarine. I guess he spotted them there in the natural. Maybe not. I don't know. But they are on the other side. He's going to try and see if he can maybe catch up to them. Well, you know what? These might be in some trouble. If he's not careful, that is. Grenade over here in the back. Try and put him forward. Yeah, getting the medevac is so nice. This is starting to hurt quite a bit right now, though. Medevacs are one of those units you really want to keep up with. This is what I was talking about, right? Yeah. It's very dangerous. I feel like that was maybe a bit too ambitious right there for HeroMarine, because despite the fact that those Cyclones were on the other side of the map, and I don't even know if he was aware of that, he still ends up losing everything. And it's not like those units are cheap. The easiest way, I guess, to like compare a Cyclone is its cost is like almost the same as a siege tank. Like a siege tank is a little bit more expensive, but especially with the lock-on ability upgrade, yeah. It certainly is not a cheap thing to just throw away. Anyways, 3rd command center has landed right now here for Clem. He's going to go for what seems to be a conventional style. And you know what? Even though we're 7.5 minutes into this game, it's pretty much dead even. Look at this. Both players have 3 bases. Both of them like just above 50 workers here. Supply counts are even. Army counts are pretty even. Upgrades are ahead though for HeroMarine here, which is nice. I mean, even though Clem obviously already finished up his upgrade right there for the Cyclones, it doesn't really come into play too much in the mid-game. I think the Stimpack upgrade here is quite noticeable. It's going to be done quite a bit sooner. HeroMarine also is going to be able to start up the +1/+1 upgrades here pretty soon. So that will probably also come into play here going forward. So he should be able to go for a nice little timing attack if he wants to. Anyways, both players though starting up their upgrades. Clem is roaming the map once again. He does have a bunch of Ravens out. Yeah, okay. I thought he was going to go for the interference matrix, but instead he just drops those auto turrets. And that's 2 siege tanks down the drain. Maybe the upgrades don't even matter, right? If they're not done yet, you can't get too much value out of them either. Lovely little move right here. I didn't think he was going to move forward right there with the auto turrets. It's one of those skills we don't actually see too often. The natural command center is starting to take a lot of damage, and I think it may end up going down there. Okay, this is the moment over here. HeroMarine decides to stim forward. Obviously, those Marines all of a sudden found their combat drugs in their backpacks or something. I don't really know exactly how it works. Most of these Terran units in blue will be cleaned up. Okay, siege tank ends up going down as well. Still think that was a... Oh. Wow. All right, he gets another tank. Nicely done there by Clem. I still think that was a pretty good trade, though, for Clem, obviously. I mean, sure, they trade armies, but he also... Well, if you lose all the Ravens here, what a game so far. I don't want to say sloppy, but it certainly does feel a little bit clumsy at the very least. Anyways, he got a command center there, obviously, which is just fantastic. All right, now for Clem. Okay, so at this point, we're talking 3 base eco right here for the Terran player in blue versus 2 base eco right here. Oh, is he gonna get the medevac? No way, dude. All right, well, I guess scrappiness continues. Yeah, obviously, like, this is a phenomenal position right now for Clem, right? Attacking in Terran versus Terran can be extremely difficult. So, if you know that their siege tank's gonna be set up over there, look at Clem right now, just buying time. He knows that's really all he needs. He hasn't seen if his opponent decides to follow this up right now with a third command center again. But, I mean, we know at this point that that is not the case. So that indicates to me, at the very least, that HeroMarine wants to go for an all-in right now. He's finishing up 1-1, which is really good. Stimpack obviously is done as well. Combat Shield, about a half minute or so away from finishing. It's just that, like, look at the siege tank count. Yeah, okay, he scans right now, he sees the siege tanks, and he realizes there's no way I'm gonna beat that. Okay, so just because I was curious, right? Because I feel like I've casted HeroMarine versus Clem many times before. In tournament games, apparently they have played a grand total of 118 maps against each other, with HeroMarine winning 56 of them and Clem winning 62. So yeah, they've played against each other very regularly, and obviously most of those games are from like the last 2 years or so, just because, you know, Clem has only really been at this level for a little while, really. Still seems to be getting better, which is nice. He actually just overtook Raynor on Aligulek for the number 2 position, which is kind of cool. So even though Raynor is the world champion, he had a loss. I heard of this. I haven't seen the games, but apparently Raynor had like the historical biggest drop ever on Aligulek because he lost against, I think, a Chinese Zerg player in a ZVZ. I'm not exactly sure what ends up going down in that one. If I can find the replays, I'll maybe consider casting it, because I can imagine... I mean, it's a Zerg versus Zerg, right? So, anyways, apparently Raynor lost to, like, a pretty unknown, rather, Zerg player from China. And because of that, he ended up, you know, dropping a rank on Aligulek. Either way, that does put Clem right now at the number 2 position in the world, which is kind of neat. Gabe, by the way, big Gabe that is, HeroMarine. Even though I feel like we talk a lot in the StarCraft community about guys like Zero, Clem, Raynor, right, as like the highest ranked non-Korean players. And I guess they are, right? it's because they are. But HeroMarine is sitting, you know, at number 4. So HeroMarine at Showtime, right? There's a couple of players that are just below that. And it's really very close. I guess HeroMarine in general, he's got this weird thing going on where he has been around since like 2011 or so. He's been in the same team, Mouse Sports, since I think like ever. I don't remember HeroMarine ever being on another team. So he's always been around and he's always been very good. So I guess that, you know, makes it a little bit easier to forget him or something. Like, people don't seem to give him as much credit as he deserves. He's been winning so many of those weekly events. He's always been good. And while he hasn't won, like, a ton of premier events or whatever, he's certainly a player to watch out for because he's still getting better as well. Anyways. Looks like we have a bit of a deviation right here in openers. HeroMarine going for a later second gas geyser, whereas Clem already took his second gas. So that usually means that he's going to be the one who will be a little bit more aggressive because of course his command center is going to be timed ever so slightly differently. I mean, it's not going to be a huge difference. He already got an SCV kill as well, which is nice. By the way, we find ourselves on Blackburn. If you haven't seen a whole lot of videos over the last week or two, I've been covering quite a few games on this particular map. Just in case you're unfamiliar, let me try and show you around real quick. I think the most noticeable locations on this particular map in Terran versus Terran is this little jump up pad. So I've seen a couple of games recently. I don't know if it's going to come up in this one, but I've seen a couple of games recently where, like, Terran players put siege tanks over here and then they bring Marines in medevacs that they drop on the high ground, and you can go for a really crazy slow push through this slowing bubble at the back of your opponent's natural expansion. So imagine a couple siege tanks over here and then obviously Marines on the high ground. How can you clean that up, right? If they get set up there, it's very difficult to come stimming in from the back. Yeah, if you get set up there and stationed there, it's very difficult to actually break it. So maybe that'll come into play. Either way, this map is pretty neat. There's a gold base over here in the back as well. So this gold base usually is the 4th, although I've seen quite a few players expanding vertically on this map. So they go main, natural, 3rd base over here, and then the 4th base up here, and then maybe the 5th once this entire area of the map has been taken control of. Because the problem with this gold base is obviously that your opponent can harass it from the back very easily too. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that this map has been a lot of fun to watch so far. And while as a Zerg player, it's been a little bit painful. There's no denying that. This is a cool one. And as a fan of StarCraft, I love seeing this kind of stuff. Let's see what Clem decides to go for, though. But, okay, I was going to say, yeah, a bit of an awkward push there. There's two Reapers, a Widowmine, and then 4 Marines inside of this one plane. Fair enough. He's going to go for a Raven right now as a follow-up siege tank as well. If we look on HeroMarine's side, okay. Nothing too crazy. Does get the Widowmine burrowed right now. Now, obviously, there's a Raven available, so the detector is right there. He ended up killing a mule there, but that one was almost timed out already, so I don't think it really matters all too much. Yeah, a little bit of harassment here. A little bit of back and forth between the two. What is this guy doing, by the way? I love the decorations on this map. I feel like this map is more beautiful than other maps. I don't usually pay attention to that sort of thing so far. Maybe I should, going forward. Pay attention a little bit more to the map decorations, but... A couple of Marines end up getting killed here. Nothing too committed, though. But yeah, there's some cool stuff on this map in general. Looks like the author, I think it's Insidious, if I recall correctly, that made this map. Looks like the author of the map, though, did put in a lot of effort. Not just making a cool layout, right? And having some very unique map characteristics. Oh, is he gonna get it? I think he will. Ah, the slow zone. Yeah, there you go. Nice. That is one of the unique map characteristics, right? But he also decorated the map very nicely, which I do appreciate. Look at this. Like, we're on some sort of, like, floating space platform or something. I'm not entirely sure. Looks like there's a lot of mining going on around the place. I know there's some Ultralisk experiments being done beneath the platform as well, it looks like. But it's just, it's a pretty one. Look at this. There's, like, cannons as well on the platform, covering the edges. Anyways, doesn't really matter too much. Apparently, Clem decides to continue pushing right now. Okay. There is a third command center done here for HeroMarine, so if he wants to land it over here, that's going to be kind of tough if the Terran player in blue is going to be hanging out in this location. Same can be said right here for Mlem Liquid Clem. He's going to float his command center on over in that direction. Is he going to make it into a planetary, actually? I don't know. Expanding this far forward is kind of cool. HeroMarine right now using the close air-to-air space to now fly these Ravens straight across the map. This is very dangerous, because of course, I mean, they don't have much of a defense here, but they can definitely get some work done. These are very scary units. Yeah, while Clem is busy set up right here in the center of the map, he could definitely get some kills in. I don't know if I agree. What? Why did he position them over there? I guess he's going after add-ons? Ooh, actually, if you can deny Stimpack, that is nice. I was questioning that decision-making there for a little bit. Maybe thinking it was a good idea to go after the worker line or something along those lines instead, but... Oh, does he get the Raven? Or sorry, the siege tank? He will. Anyways. Yeah, at this point, these Ravens are without energy, but he denied the Stimpack upgrade, right? That's massive. This is gonna give HeroMarine so much additional time to get his upgrades done. Oh, okay. Sometimes these little battles make so little sense. Okay, once again, good trade right there, though, for HeroMarine. Clem's still sitting out here with a bunch of units, and even though he denied the base over there, looks like the command center is finding a new home to the north of the natural. That said, it's 3 siege tanks right now going up against 2. But the thing is, HeroMarine doesn't really need to take this fight, right? He just needs to keep his opponent occupied. Maybe he can even gun down these Ravens over here. Yeah, he's gotta be careful. Yeah, Cyclone lock-on, always dangerous. Nice targeting there by Clem. Okay. So the additional production right now has come up. Clem is forced to spend a lot of time rebuilding those tech labs and reactors. Only just now starts up Stimpack, whereas look at this. That's actually really cool. So a little Raven hit squad goes across the map to kill add-ons. It makes little sense, but when you think about it for a little bit longer, I guess we're always really obsessed with eco and stuff, right? And killing workers. But in Terran versus Terran, I think that getting the tech advantage is quite significant, because this right now completely nullifies all these pushes from Clem, right? I mean, Clem could still move forward with the siege tank. Maybe I shouldn't say that too out loud. It's just very dangerous here to be, you know, with a couple of tanks and then so few Marines without Stimpack. It seems that at the very least, these siege tanks should not be able to break this. And with Stimpack, I mean, this army would be a lot more menacing. Then the Marines might very well be able to stim forward and get some work done. Okay, yeah, nice. I like it. That was really cool. Okay, so 4th command center comes up. We'll see if he decides to land that one over at the golden base or not. You can see the same right now for Clem. I think he's probably going to float it on over here. Marine that is, or HeroMarine that is, but we'll see. Okay. Now, obviously, the upgrade that you get after the Stimpack upgrade is the combat shields. It's even stranger than the drugs, I guess, than the Stimpack drugs. They'll be able to all of a sudden pick up a shield out of their backpacks. They're like, wait a second, did I have this all this time? Bam! Plus 10 HP. I don't really know exactly how it works. What I'm trying to say is that my science fiction fantasy game is not entirely realistic. Ay, 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 ay. Blizzard, please. Nice move, though. Yeah, those Liberators are actually fantastic in this kind of scenario. Hold up now. Combat Shield is done as well, which makes the Marines in the back, even though there's not that many, quite a bit more powerful. But I think the real strength right now is in, indeed, those Liberators. They're going to be able to force the unsiege. Apparently, though, Clem decides to siege up forward. He now actually pushes all of the SCVs into this direction as well. And even if he somehow, some way cleans up this battle, I mean, that's still so many SCVs going down. I think there's just way too much right now for HeroMarine. Yeah. The Liberators and the tech advantage in general right there with those Marine upgrades and whatnot just gives him a lot more firepower, and HeroMarine obtains the victory. Alrighty, so here we go. Game number 3 in this best of 3 series. The final map will be on Romanticide. This map in general, and I say in general because you never know, but in general this map is a little bit more macro focused just because if you're the defensive player, right, so say you're HeroMarine in this scenario, and you have 3 bases up and running, you only really need to defend this ramp, because if your opponent decides to be aggressive, I mean, that's really their only point of entry. Obviously, they can fly in from that side, they can unsiege over here and move all the way around, but if you see that, right, you can just, if you're defending this area, you can just, you know, roll your siege tanks on over towards the right, and it's pretty easy to keep track of exactly where your opponent is located. So usually, at least, this is a more macro-focused approach. I kind of like this from Clem. So look at what Clem is doing here. Right? Bit random. The thing is, if HeroMarine decides to go for an SCV scout here in just a little bit, he's gonna get towards the other side of the map, and he'll find out that his opponent has got very little inside of the main base. Like, maybe he'll make like a victory lapse right around the main base just to double check exactly what's going on. But he's not likely to find this barracks here early. So it's kind of cool because, especially what Clem did, obviously, in game number 1, it may very well give HeroMarine a bit of a flashback of what happened in that game 1. So maybe he assumes that once again, he's being proxied. In reality, though, this isn't really that big of a deal. I kind of like it. Double gas right now as well, so this should give him quite a bit of intel. 3 and 3 in gas for now. Okay. Let's see. So HeroMarine is going to find out right here that on top of the ramp there is nothing. Well, I guess there's a couple depots. Sorry, depots. I hope you didn't hear that. I don't think you're nothing. I love you, man, but like, you're not as important, I guess, as seeing a tech structure. Anyways, at this point, where's he going to go? Okay, yeah, he's just looking around. Thought for a second he was already heading out to just check that. Look, oh! There's, by the way, a factory now as a follow-up as well. Oh, he decides to turn around. Okay. Double Reaper right now coming out of the reactored barracks. This is obviously going to trigger HeroMarine to stay at home with his units for now. He's building the command center, though, which I like a lot. Delaying the factory here regardless. Going for the the second CC is actually very critical here. Because I don't think that Clem is really going to commit too hard. It's just very easy to, you know, freak out in these kind of scenarios and think that your opponent has got some sort of trick up their sleeve. Okay. Oh, I like this as well. Okay, he just shows one of the Reapers. Oh, HeroMarine is running, though. He's going to find out exactly what's going on. Oh, no, oh, what? He stops walking. Hello. Oh, that's unfortunate. I think he was going to find out that these barracks were not that far out. So, that Reaper, the timing at which it showed up was quite late as well. Because normally, you would do that off of a barracks that just got built over here, right? So, say the barracks got built over here, you make a Reaper, you send it back home, you kill the SCV. However, in the meantime here, another reactor got built. So, it kind of shows up at a similar timing as if it were to be proxied, but now 2 Reapers are being produced at once instead, which is kind of cool. Anyways, doesn't really matter too much because there's nothing on the low ground here. The theory, at the very least, does make a lot of sense. Command Center, though, starts up here for Clem 2. Starport now comes up as well, so yeah. In the end, I don't think this is really going to make that big of a difference, but still some clever little mind games here being played. This is a scary army, though, in the early game, right? This is the kind of stuff that can kill cyclones and whatnot. Yeah, so HeroMarine hasn't seen anything. He doesn't really know what he's going up against, so he has to prepare for everything, which is kind of scary. These are some proper high-level games, though. Like, I hope I'm doing a decent job explaining why it's tricky. Because if you're a ladder hero, right? If you're somewhere below, like, you know, Grandmaster League, which is pretty much everyone, Terran versus Terran is a bit of a disaster because of this exact shenanigans that we see going on right now. There are so many tricks that you can play on your opponent, and if you over-prepare for any kind of defense, or with any kind of defense, right, and you, for example, delay your orbital command here, you're super far behind before your opponent even gets any work done. Anyways, apparently we do now commit right here. I love this, though. Nice move here by HeroMarine. He cleans all of this up easy peasy. So, big picture here. A lot of trickiness. But in the end, yeah, Clem ends up losing way more than he wanted to. He wanted to hide over there in the corner. Maybe after his opponent moved out, maybe he could drive on over there with those Hellions and send in a mineral line. Now all of a sudden, he's going to be in some trouble at home. Siege Tank, though, will finish up. Raven will come up as well. If he loses the factory, that could be a disaster. Nah, I mean, it's just a couple Hellions, Lowko. I don't even know why you would say that. Okay. Very ambitious set of Hellions, though. They can take a while. It's actually kind of cool. Do you see that? Apparently, if you shoot this Teklev over here... Oh, okay. That is not an Immortal and a Prism, Clem. Someone tell Clem that he's not playing Protoss here. Hello. Matter of fact, drop. Anyways, apparently, if you have the Hellions over here, you can hit both of the Teklev as well as the reactor here. Clem, by the way, a little while ago... I mean, I'm assuming this will be cleaned up, right? Yeah. Hello. You can send those back. Yeah, okay. Clem a little while ago was actually sitting on the Grandmaster League ladder as Protoss. I think I brought this up in a previous video, but anyways. He was sitting on the Grandmaster League ladder with his Terran at like 7.1k MMR, which is exceptionally high. But then his Protoss was sitting there right below at 6.8k MMR. So even though Clem is a Terran pro player, his MMR with Protoss is higher than some of the Protoss pro gamers that I cover on this channel regularly. Let that sink in for a little bit, okay? It's actually kind of crazy. Apparently, Raynor's Protoss is very good as well. I wish I had some of those replays to cast, because I wonder if they would play the game a little bit differently. I don't know. Anyways. Clem apparently doesn't care. Even though there's no Immortals available for him, he's still going to be able to micro against those Hellions. I was trying to retrace my thinking right there. How did I get to that subject? Okay, 6 SCVs end up going down here very quickly. Siege Tank on the high ground. Okay, Interference Matrix does go down. Clem is going to be able to get the Siege Tank kill over there, which is quite nice. 7 SCVs end up getting killed there inside of the main base as well. Got to be careful, though. Yeah, Vikings are out right now, so this Medevac probably doesn't want to stay there for too long either. He does have energy for another Interference Matrix, if I'm not mistaken, so he could roll forward a little bit more. Medevac, though, will be killed, and all of the Marines end up going down there as well, but 8 SCVs here in total. He's thinking about it. Clem is thinking about it. He wants to, but yeah, okay. Okay, he actually unsieges everything all at once. That gives the opportunity right now for HeroMarine to chase this down. Does get one of the siege tanks. Auto turrets are going down as well on both sides, though, so both players just trying to deal maximum amount of damage. Reinforcing siege tank, though, sieges up pretty quickly. There's no stimpack done here, obviously, for the player in blue, so it's going to be quite difficult to chase this down, but he does get everything cleaned up, and that is, I think, a reasonable cleanup right there for HeroMarine. I mean, he did end up losing those SCVs, right? Yeah, Raven ended up going down as well on the side of Clem, which is quite annoying. Ideally, you want to keep those alive for as long as possible. Big picture, yeah. That definitely was a good enough trade right there for HeroMarine, especially because of the fact that he's got his third command center done a little bit quicker, too. Upgrades-wise, he's also looking fine. I mean, they're not done yet, but... Actually, no. They changed color, man. It's a little bit confusing. I'm pretty sure Clem was playing blue last game, and now HeroMarine is playing blue. Anyways, no, it's actually Clem that's currently getting his upgrades. So I guess upgrade-wise, HeroMarine is not looking that hot, but it's okay. Look at Jimmy over here, by the way. Looking out into the distance. He's just hanging out in this location to make sure that if a medevac passes through, he's going to be able to scout that right away. Is he blocking his own location, by the way? Like, he's taking the third base over there, but... that tech lab may actually be blocking a command center. Alright. Yeah, so this is the moment where the Marines are just going to be out on the map as spotters. It's a little bit sad for them, because literally their life's purpose has been to build it in, or to, like, get trained instead of a barracks. Right? Apparently it costs about 50 minerals, and now all they get to do is just stand out in the middle of nowhere, hoping they won't get killed. You guys are just a means to an end, apparently. It's a little bit sad, but it is what it is. Alright, so it looks like we have... I don't see this game ending anytime soon. It looks like we have the more macro-focused game here, right? I mean, supply counts, once again, dead even. Well, when I started that sentence anyway. Supply counts, though, very even. And you can see it's... Yeah, we've gotten into a stable mid-game right here. Nice. With all the mind games going on, though. Obviously, like, we have perfect vision, right? But if you're a ladder hero and you play these kind of matchups... sometimes you will find yourself just looking at the screen and wondering where in the world your opponent is located. It's little moves like these Marines and like the positioning and the constant thinking ahead and stuff that makes this matchup very complex. So what's better than one spotter unit? Two spotter units, right? Both of them trying to outsmart each other. Getting that location scouted is very important. Okay, what's better than two? Three, apparently. At what point does it become an army, though? Jimmy, no! Oh. Kevin. What was that, dude? Another thing that's difficult about Terran versus Terran is the balance between, like... Ooh, this all gets spotted right away. The balance between, like, dropping mules and keeping energy for scans. It sounds so easy, but, like, when you think about it, right? Medics... sorry, what are they called? Marines, there you go. Marines are kind of important in this matchup, and obviously mules basically pay for those Marines. So you gotta be careful that you don't drop too many of them. He decides to siege up over here, but there's actually very little, although apparently HeroMarine may very well be coming out into the map to greet him. There's a couple of Marines here on the back, south of the main army, and this could be a pincer attack right now coming up here for HeroMarine, yeah. A lot of other units, though. Oh my god, this is the strangest sandwich I've ever seen. The siege tanks have been picked up once again instead of medevac, although that medevac, gets picked up! Beautiful move right there by the biggest of Gapes. HeroMarine snipes a medevac full of units with an interference matrix as well. And now all of a sudden, okay, this is looking a hell of a lot better right now for our German Terran player. He's rolling forward. We're talking 6 siege tanks for the player in blue versus only 2 for Clem. He does have a 4th command center, so that's something to be said. Clem, that is. This is going to be a planetary fortress as well, which is nice, but obviously the siege tanks do outrange planetaries. HeroMarine right now floating his own command center on over. Terran versus Terran is a difficult matchup, because I've said this many times before, but closing it out can be extremely difficult. HeroMarine, though, spending blood in the water, wants to see if he has enough right now to clean it up, and he may very well have enough to break through this at the very least. That was a massacre. Alright. Well, if you want to continue pushing, you got to get that siege tank army in a range here. Reinforcing tank, though, has come up. Yeah, and reinforcing units here in general are now rolling across the map once again. Gotta be so careful you don't overextend. Once again, Marines apparently ready to stim forward. They're using their combat drugs to try and close the distance towards those tanks. 2 more end up going down. Decent trade, though, for HeroMarine there, because he does get a lot of units there in the process, too. Ooh, I like this. Loads up a couple of units, tries to go into the main base. Missile turret has been set up over there, so it's going to be a one-way trip for the most part. Very expensive commitment here, but maybe this allows the opportunity as well for the other siege tanks to roll on forward towards the planetary. So far, he's not really getting a whole lot of value out of that. Low ground expo is now mining as well here for Big Gabe, so he's got a nice little eco advantage, plus an army advantage. That being said, apparently Clem is ready to clear that up. All right. Kills the units inside of the main base. Medivacs did get on out of there, but still a lot of losses. +3 comes up for our Frenchman. Yeah, you can see what I'm talking about there, right? Even though that was a very significant army lead right there for HeroMarine, closing it out is extremely difficult. He's decided to go around right now. Not really a location that you can easily break. And even though HeroMarine certainly does still have the advantage here, it's important not to overestimate it. Clem is known to pull rabbits out of hats. He's a bit of a magician. Although giving away 2 medevacs full of units would kind of suck. It's time to run, boys. Nice. Ah. Oh my god, poor guy. Alright. Another important spotter, obviously, in this matchup is that sensor tower. So the sensor tower is set up in such a way so that you can actually position it And spot incoming medivacs that head on over towards your main base. Same obviously over here. So this is what Clem sees right now. He sees the little exclamation marks right there on the map. So he knows that there's an army out there. Obviously the same has been done right here by HeroMarine. Wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go for the 5th base here very shortly. Oh, okay. Maybe he's going to go for the middle base instead. But obviously this gives Clem a lot of breathing room right now to get his macro back in order as well. And to, yeah, just start making a new army. And so far, I mean, that's exactly what he's been doing. He's only 10 supply behind, and that is something that can easily be cleaned up. Okay, well, this is... I was going to say, that was quite nice for HeroMarine until those 2 siege tanks got picked up. Siege tanks right there on the high ground, though. Okay, they get a ton of Marines killed very, very quickly. HeroMarine right now starts abusing the terrain here, and I love it. Very good. 3 siege tanks over there. He does still have a nice tank count here in general. A couple siege tanks awkwardly in the back right there for Clem. They're not really participating in this battle. HeroMarine does get all of the tanks right now in a pretty good spot. That being said, there are still quite a few Terran units in red left over. Another bloodbath right here. I think it's okay, though. Yep. I think that this is just fine right now for HeroMarine. He still has such a massive amount of siege tanks. There's 9 available for Clem, but I feel like I don't see them. Okay, maybe a couple of them just popped out of the factory. Starting to hit the orbital, and this is now a super difficult position to break. Obviously, when you have the air superiority, you can go into the Liberators as well, but even though HeroMarine doesn't have that many flying units, I don't think Clem really has the luxury right now to go into that Liberator production. So, yeah, those siege tanks, look at them, rolling forward ever so slightly, leapfrogging a little bit at a time. Reinforcements are coming up as well, and while a lot of these tanks are low in hit points, they are closing the distance. He's going for Liberators right now. HeroMarine, that is. 3 at a time. I love this. I think that may very well... Ooh, careful, careful, careful. That could definitely be finishing move. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of SCVs now joining the fray as well to try and build those siege tanks back up, or siege tanks rather, back up to full hit points. Clem happily macroing on the back of this, decides to float on over another command center, but I think it's going to be difficult to clean all of this up. I mean, it's 1 siege tank shot away, though, from killing like 4 siege tanks here, so... Anyways, here come the Liberators, and I think the Liberators actually are going to be super important. Quite a few units have been left at home as well for HeroMarine. This is a high-level move. He has secured the 5th base right now at the 12 o'clock position. But here's what I'm talking about. Those anti-ground zones are going to be extremely difficult to deal with. How exactly are you going to break this? Well, apparently you're going to break it by stimming at least for a little bit. HeroMarine, though, stims in turn as well. Grabs another siege tank, and right now should be able to kill the orbital command there as well. Clem unsieges a ton of tanks, and he apparently just stims straight forward. He needs to break this position on the map right now. The siege tanks in red HP for HeroMarine, though, are getting picked up very quickly, but, I mean, 2 of them even still remain here. 1 of them remains. Well, now all of them are gone, but I don't think it really matters. That's exactly what HeroMarine wanted. Orbital command, I guess, the main base will float on over towards the low ground, but that location is not gonna be broken, and there it is. HeroMarine will end up winning this best of 3 series in a 2-1 favor. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. If you're interested as well in supporting the channel directly, there's a link down below in the description of this video. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.